This plan covers all range of activities, as you can see, from the development of high-level policy recommendations to the creation of WhatsApp group to exchange information on importation and customs procedures during the response to an emergency. Next slide, please. In 2018, the Impact Working Group, in line with the documents I have just mentioned to you, we delivered 2 courses in Gibraltar on importation and customs clearance together, on customs and importation processes with UNCTAD and WCO. And these courses had a great success. We then decided to develop an e-learning course on this topic. And then I'm going to give the floor to Juan Galvez, who is team lead of the Global Logistic Procurement and Supply Chain Excellence in IFRC. Next slide, please. And Juan, over to you.
Thank you, Virginie. So as an initial step under the 4th strategy of the objective of the Impact Working Group, as Virginie has mentioned, it was identified the need to build a basic course to provide humanitarian practitioners, and this is the target audience, with basic knowledge and understanding of the importation process, and especially how to contextualize this for the special context they work. The importation of relief items and equipment during an emergency response. We reached out to several organizations and we didn't identify such a specific e-course, and that's why we decided to embark in this project to jointly develop a training package. The backbone of the importation process is common to other products under normal trade in the private sector. But there are some special considerations that make us develop this e-course. On one hand is the life-saving humanitarian aspect of the shipments. There is some special facilitation measures granted to relief agencies, or some of the goods they might be eligible to support governments to alleviate the suffering of affected populations. And also because the sudden influx of humanitarian aid, especially for the big scale emergencies, if it is not properly channeled, it might end up blocking the customs or blocking the entry points. And at the end of the day, not just only affecting humanitarian organizations, but affecting the whole economy of a country affected by a humanitarian crisis. And this is something that we are trying to minimize. Next slide, as I already mentioned, the target audience is individuals who are involved in the importation of relief shipments. With that, I will pass the floor back to Virginie.
Yes, thank you, Juan. Now I'll give the floor to Alia Gabaré, who is the Regional Director for the Middle East with Help Logistics. Over to you, Alia. Next slide, please.
Thank you. I'm going to speak a little bit about the course content. So the course is 5 modules. The first module focuses on, it's just an introduction about customs and importation in the humanitarian context. So we are going to understand the challenges that the humanitarian community, but also the customs authorities and other governmental agencies face when importing into disaster-affected countries, and understand the different country-specific aspects pertaining to importation and customs. Another important thing that's explored in this module is the importance of compliance to customs regulations, and also the consequences of not complying to these regulations, among other things. So the second module, as you can see, is about coordinated border management, which explores that concept more and outlines the formalities in export and import countries for different countries. We also, in this module, explore important aspects like the single window environment and the one-stop shop. In module 3, we will look at the real cost of importation of humanitarian goods. We will understand the tariff and tariff measures and how they affect our importation. And we will also look into obtaining tax waivers and exemptions. Module 4 focuses on documentation and information quality and how they can affect how smooth the clearance process goes, and when aid and relief items come into the country, and the effect they might have on that lead time. A very important topic is also explored in module 5, which is the modernization of customs systems. So we're going to also explore the modernization of customs systems, the importance of information flow, and also fallback procedures into paper-based systems. So this is the content in a very quick way, and in a nutshell, we thought that these were the main knowledge points that would constitute a base for understanding of customs and importations in the humanitarian context. If I can have the next slide, please. So just to also give a plan on how an idea on how the course was developed and is going to proceed going forward. Working on this course started in late 2020 and has just ended in April 2021. During that phase, the impact group has developed the learning objectives. We have developed the content for the course. The course went through instructional design and visual design phases to become an engaging online course for the audience. This May, we are going to pilot the course, and by piloting, we mean that we are going to test both the content and the online design platform format with different organizations. So we have in the pilot phase participants from the Red Cross, the Red Crescent Network, Save the Children, MSF, and Med-Air. We are going to use the feedback we get from the pilot cohort to do final adjustments in July, and to calibrate and fine-tune the course so that it's the best fit for online delivery. We will launch the course in September. So basically those who are interested in taking the course can take the course on the logistics cluster learning e-learning platform, and it is free of charge. Every 6 months, we are going to also run, the impact group will facilitate basically a webinar to discuss topics of importance and important themes that are related to customs and importation and the e-learning course. The first webinar is going to be conducted in December 2021. And that's it from my side. I hand back to Virginie.
Okay, thank you very much, Alia. Before I give the floor to Juan to talk about to show you the platform, I would like to thank OCHA for the financial contribution to develop the course. Also, thank you to Help Logistics for assisting us in the development phase, and also to all the contributors to this course, the World Customs Organization, IFRC, UNCTAD, Help Logistics, etc., MSF, Save the Children. They all contributed to the content of the course. So I would like to thank all these organizations for their support. So as I said, the course will be hosted by on the platform of the logistic cluster. So I hand over the floor to Juan. Juan, please, over to you. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Virginie. As Alia and Virginie already mentioned, the course will be hosted within the catalog of free courses offered by the logistic cluster to the humanitarian sector. And as already mentioned, this has been developed by a joint initiative of few organizations. We are very happy that this is offered for free to the rest of the humanitarian community. Next slide, a little bit of the look and feel. It will be a self-paced e-course. So once you register, it's up to each individual to go at their own speed and complete the different modules. And the next slide, as we have mentioned, Alia was mentioning in the roadmap, the course will be available and publicly accessible from September. We will communicate in the official launch. And this is, as you can see now in the screen, the look and feel of how it will look in the logistic cluster e-learning platform. And with this, looking forward to receive the feedback from this pilot that is starting now with few colleagues from a few organizations. Virginie, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next slide, please. Okay, so we are done with our presentations. If you have questions, we are happy to answer. I can see some questions in the chat already. Can we get the slides? Yes, of course, we can share the slides. Will the course be available in multiple languages? Yes, we have received offers to translate the course in French and Spanish. So when we have when we have all the comments from the participant to the pilot phase in September, we will look at how it can be translated and how long it will take to do that. So we will inform you, Patrick. We will let you know when and if it can be done. But this was our initial objective to have it at least in French and Spanish. Other questions or comments? Sur le cours, peut-il faire partie d'une mission de log cluster? This no, I don't think so. It's not enough. I think I don't know, but Juan, do you know the answer to this question? You know in French? It's okay. You can read it in French.
It's not compulsory. I mean, the different organizations that we have participated in, we identified that it was already a need for our own individual organizations, and many of us we are going to include within the training paths of our different organizations. But that said, we felt that it would be useful for any other organizations and practitioners in general. We also mentioned governmental officers that might be working for governmental agencies, private sector students. So it's really publicly offered to anyone who might be interested. From that, I understood that from the e-learning platform, from the Holistic Cluster, once you finish, you get kind of a completion certificate. But apart from that, it will be up to the different organizations if they want to consider that it is mandatory or not within the different organizations. For us, definitely, we will include it and we will highly recommend it, and especially for logisticians to follow it. But I didn't understand, well, this is not yet any kind of mandatory for logistic cluster deployments.
Next question from Gilles. The course will be available until the end of June to the organizations that will be part of the pilot phase. As Alia said, will be MEDER, Save the Children, MSF, and IFRC. They have nominated Save the Children. They have nominated participants. They will test and look at the course. And once we have received all the comments by the end of June, then in July we will adjust the course and the different elements. And then, as from the 1st of September, it will be online and free of charge to the humanitarian community on the website of the log cluster. Will the course be updated based on customs regulation changes that may happen in the future? In this course, there are no customs regulations per country, because each country has different rules and regulations. This course is an introduction to the different elements that needs to be taken by logisticians. You need to know that as soon as you decide to dispatch a consignment, then you need to take action immediately. You should not wait for the container to arrive in the country And there are a number of actions that the logistician should take from the export side and in the import side. So we are explaining what is the basis for that. It does not come from nowhere. The World Customs Organization in particular do discuss with customs administrations the different provisions that should be included in the law, and then they ratify conventions. Based on this international convention, they have a custom code and they have procedures. So all these procedures that you have to do does not come from nowhere, and this is what we explain. And then we explain what action you should take to speed up the importation of goods. Does not address specific custom procedures per country. For now, if we have funds and opportunities to do that, then we can consider this aspect. But for the time being, it's really basic things about customs and importation processes. Next question. Will there be some kind of e-certificate so that participants can update their training records? Yes, of course, at the end, once the course is completed, there will be a certificate of completion. If successful, is there a plan to develop other modules targeting specific issues in more detail? Yes, if it is successful and if we have funds, we are happy to work on that and to look what can be done. Let's start with this one already. It has been a lot of work since last year. So we are happy to have the opportunity to launch it now and to test it and to have organizations that are happy to test. And then we see the first participation, and mid-December when we have the webinar, as Alia has mentioned, then we will discuss all that. And if there is a need for additional modules, then we can discuss that. And if there are modules and energy and time and resources, we can consider having that as well. But for the time being, let's work on this introduction to custom processes. Anything about the pharma product we may import on a mission? We are addressing in one of the modules telecommunication equipment and medicines and medical equipment, but not in depth for the time being.
If I may, Virginie.
Please.
Just if people are interested in pharma and medical, especially with the current events, also on the logistics cluster platform, you would find a medical logistics in pandemics course by Help Logistics. So you're welcome to also go in there and learn in that specific area. But as Virginie mentioned, the course, although it touches on pharma, telecommunications, and a few specifics, is very broad and a basic course, so we don't go into these in depth. There are other courses that might be more specific for that.
Thank you, Alia. Juan, anything you want to add?
Yeah, on the other hand, the objective of the webinars, the idea is to receive the feedback from the different participants from September on, and see which are the key themes or interests from those who have been completing the course, and then complement with these specific webinars. So the different topics that might be selected will be based on that feedback. And also, as Virginie has been mentioning, this is the basic course. We are very happy to start this journey with this specific package that we are looking forward through the Impact Working Group as an interagency group to engage with additional partners and move on with next steps in the future. So then either to complement with pharma module, for example, or a more advanced training, or it has been already mentioned, something about the specific countries. So we are looking forward really to enhance collaborations, join forces with others, and really see from the practical use of the training, which are the gaps that is already addressing, and the needs that is already addressing, and which might be additional gaps as per the feedback that we are seeing already today. So we are very happy and excited to see how this is rolling out.
Yes, and we on to come back on the question about medicines, medical equipment. We also have a session next week about that, and we have a sub-working group on the importation of medicines and medical equipment. And so we will look at all these aspects. If you want to join the session next week, you are more than welcome. Juan, I give you the floor again because there is a question to clarify the target audience.
It's a basic and introduction course, so is any practitioner that is involved or might be involved or has interest about the import process for relief shipments.
Okay, thank you. We have a lot of thank you messages about that. I'm assuming the course in this principle from some of the WCO. Yes, exactly. This is what I said a bit before. Everything that everything that the customs administrations ask you to do comes from this international convention. WCO is even online with us today. They contributed to the development of the course. The impact working group is very active in the development and revision of the international conventions to make sure that it reflects the way we work. So IFRC, UNCTAD, and me are working a lot with the World Customs Organization and other organizations to make sure that the provisions are included, and also to make sure that customs administrations know us. Because there is a gap between customs administrations and the humanitarian community. We don't know each other. So I know them now and both sides because I've been working on this topic for a while. And then I try to share all this information with the two worlds to make sure there is a connection. And this impact working group aims at making sure that we go into the same direction and work together. So this is really the objective. There is a session next week on the high-level policy recommendations, and we will explain as well what is included in these recommendations and how we work with customs administrations and cross-border agencies to facilitate and speed up the importation of aid. So please join our session next week if you are interested as well on this. Other questions? WCO regulation, custom processes may be same, but matter of documentation and approval from different, like importing. Yes, we have a session on documents, as Alia mentioned. We have a session on the documents that needs to be prepared in advance, that needs to be requested to the government and the different ministries in advance, and not expecting your container to be in the import country to start all these procedures. So we are explaining all these processes that needs to be understood by the logisticians in the field, and we have realized that that the knowledge is not sufficient. So we would like to enhance and strengthen the skills and knowledge of the logisticians so that they understand the whole process. So this is the objective. I think we are nearly done. It's 41 already. I think the next session is in 15 minutes. Are there any? I think I have answered all the questions on the chat. Thank you as well for your thank you message. We are happy to see that you are all interested in this. We put a lot of efforts on this, and we are looking forward to receiving the comments from the participant during the rollout phase. And of course, we will inform you as soon as it is available to you all, so that you can share the link with all your colleagues and partners in the field and at HQ. Okay, Juan, anything you want to add?
No, thank you very much for the opportunity of presenting the course today. I'm really looking forward to receive feedback on how this is rolling out. Okay, thank you, Juan. Alia, anything you want to add?
Thanks to everyone who's attending, and I would like to encourage you to look into the course once it's available. It's self-paced, it's valuable, and it can add a lot of value to both organizations and individuals. And it was a pleasure to work on, and I look forward to taking the work further in the future.
Okay, thank you very much, Alia. Thank you to all. Thank you for our colleagues and friends from the Impact Working Group that attended the session as well. And we'll be in touch, of course. And please join all the sessions we have next week and that are convened by the Impact Working Group. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon and talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.